Have you ever wondered what it would be like to skip the chairlift line and get driven up the side of a mountain in a Snowcat? Well, today we will be talking about none other than Voodoo Mountain in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. My goal this season is to ride at and review as many resorts as humanly possible and put them in my ranking system from F to S tier, and I'm ranking them both regionally and then worldwide. And today we will be giving a full breakdown and review of Voodoo Mountain. Voodoo Mountain is a sister mountain to Mount Bohemia in the Upper Peninsula. They'll drive you on a bus to the base of a mountain, you unload from the bus and get onto a Snowcat, and then they drive that Snowcat deep into the forest to the top of the mountain where you'll be able to get out, you'll shred down the mountain, the Snowcat will pick you up at the bottom and drive you back up the mountain. And this is something that my buddy Jim and I have been eyeballing ever since we started going to Mount Bohemia, because we saw it on their website and we're like, Snowcat riding for $175. That sounds pretty sick. So we'd always thought about doing it. Finally, last year, we decided to pull the trigger and actually book it when we were up there for over a week. I'm excited to report back to you all on my experience and let you know where it ranks against other resorts. So just starting off with a couple stats, the mountain's elevation is 1,312 feet. It has 0 chairlifts and 1 Snowcat that will take you up the mountain. It has 26 runs and 250 skiable acres. However, I was talking with the Snowcat operator and he was telling me that they do plan to expand the skiable acres in the very near future. So let's talk about the cost, and is it worth traveling to the Upper Peninsula to ride at this, I guess, resort is what we'll call it. So let's start with the cost. It was $175 to book 1 day of Snowcat riding, which, all things considered, I would say is a pretty fair price, because they're riding up and down the mountain, this massive piece of machinery, and on top of that they had 2 ski patrol people, one that would lead you down and one that would be at the tail, and a Snowcat operator. So you're getting to ride in a Snowcat all day, and they had 3 people that they had to pay to be there. So all in, it was a pretty fair pricing, I would say, for what you're getting access to. But it is $175 for 1 day. So it is kind of expensive in comparison to buying a season-long pass like an Icon or an Epic or an Indy Pass, where you'd be able to ski at a bunch of different resorts, rather than this one where you're only riding for 1 day for $175. I should also mention too that this is something that is maybe obviously not included in the Icon or the Epic or the Indy Pass, and even if you have the Mount Bohemia season pass that I talked about last time, that's super duper cheap. It's only $112 this year. This is not something that's included. This would be something you have to book separately. And that will bring me to probably my first big con. The booking process for a Snowcat tour is very complicated. You have to go to their website, and it's not very obvious how you do it. So you have to actually go to the same process as if you were going to be booking a cabin, and hope that at the top of the screen it shows up with the Voodoo Mountain Snowcat skiing expedition or tour. If it doesn't, that means that it's all booked out that day, and then you have to change the date range, and then just make sure you didn't accidentally put too many dates in. It's a little bit confusing, and then you get a random automated email, and it was confusing for us because we weren't 100% sure that we ended up booking it for me and my buddy, because it's not the most intuitive process. But we ended up, I think, calling or emailing them, and they were very responsive, and they were like, yep, we got you both here, you're good to go. The next con would be the terrain you're skiing. It is far from anything extreme, and it is far from anything that impressive, just being completely honest. It's a very short run. It takes about 2 to 5 minutes to get to the bottom of the mountain if you're going moderately quick, and nothing's too crazy steep, nothing's too crazy technical. There's no cliffs you're going over, or crazy tight tree trails or tree runs you're going through. And I think this is slightly by design for them, because that kind of brings me to my next slight con. You're going out there with, I want to say, a group of about 10 people. And the reason I think they don't make it super technical is you're kind of at the mercy of those other people. If anyone got hurt while you're out there, Well, that's the end of the day, because they have to pack up shop, put that person in the back of the Snowcat, and bring them back to the road and get them to the hospital. And also, riding in on that Snowcat from the road when the bus drops you off was about a 20 to 30 minute ride. So I think they kind of purposely make it pretty safe out there, because if something went wrong, it would be pretty bad. Because you would be stranded back there pretty far. And I will also say, you're at the mercy of the slowest rider, because the Snowcat can't leave and go to the top of the mountain until everybody makes it down. The other slight con is that you have to book this thing pretty well in advance. So my buddy and I ended up booking it 2 months in advance, and we had no say and no control and no way to get a refund for whatever the weather ended up being when we were there. So if the weather would have ended up being icy, rainy, no snow on the hill, doesn't matter. That's what we're going out there, and that's what we're going to go attempt to ride in. Now, we got absolutely blessed by the snow gods, and the night before, it absolutely dumped snow. So we were out there with completely fresh tracks. There was not another track in sight going down the mountain. So we got insanely lucky with the conditions that we got to ride in, because the ski patrol and the cat driver were telling us that this was one of the better days of riding they've seen all season. So we got extremely lucky in the conditions that we got to go in. And I know I talked about this in the last video, but if we would have got stuck staying at Mount Bohemia, I'm pretty sure they had the chairlifts closed that day. We got very lucky getting to go and ride there in the condition that we did. Now, once again, you're not getting to like really charge down the mountain. They tell you to stay behind the lead ski patrol rider, which I will say, the ski patrol people were absolutely steezy and filthy and made it down super fast, especially the younger ski patrol guy. So it wasn't an issue. Like, you could go pretty much as fast as you wanted. You weren't going to beat him down the mountain. He was the younger guy was extremely good at riding. I mean, they were both really good at riding, but the younger guy was gnarly. He was telling me about these crazy backcountry trips that he goes on. And so, yeah, so you're kind of going on pretty moderate to very tame terrain, but it was a good time. Now, I'll talk about a lot of the highlights of Voodoo Mountain, and there's a ton. I would say the biggest benefit, or the biggest highlight, and the biggest reason you're going to go do it is just because it's a cool, unique experience that you're really not going to get a chance to do very many other times or any other situations, which is going and doing Snowcat riding. So just riding in the Snowcat, talking to the ski patrol, hearing their crazy stories of them doing crazy rescues and rides is just very cool and entertaining. And then also just hanging out with a bunch of other people that are like-minded individuals, because at the end of the day, we're all just crazy enough to get into the back of a Snowcat and go ride at some crazy mountain in the middle of nowhere. So it was just cool getting to know all these different people. And the terrain, once again, we got extremely lucky in the conditions, but we were making all of our own fresh tracks down the mountain the entire day. And I mean, it was so beautiful. I mean, you're just riding in what you imagine like some Red Bull video looks like, where it's just untouched terrain the entire way down, making your own carves, making your own lines. It was very cool, and everybody was super hyped up about being out on the mountain in those conditions. Like, I can't tell you how many times I heard somebody say, "This is the best day of my life," or "This is the best riding ever." Everybody was very excited the entire time. And I would say, if you're gonna make the trek all the way out to Mount Bohemia, you're saving so much money getting those season passes at Mount Bohemia because they're so cheap. Why not splurge, a whopping $175 and go do essentially a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity of going and getting to do Snowcat riding in a relatively safe, controlled environment. The runs are also very fun, as long as it's not like some icy conditions. Also, what was cool is halfway through the day, they ended up parking the Snowcat at the base of the mountain at a little camp spot they kind of made up in the middle of the woods, which had a big campfire that they ended up putting together for us. So they lit a big bonfire, and then they told everybody to pack food. So you ended up getting your food out and just hanging out there and eating food. The other thing that was kind of cool, which is at actually the very beginning of the day, is you had to meet up at Mount Bohemia's lodge to get a briefing. And they definitely tried to scare you straight in that meeting, which was kind of funny. So they were talking to us about how you could break bones, you could get concussed, you could die, like how important it is to be safe out there. And it did feel like before you get actually out onto the slopes, you're like, oh my gosh, this is going to be the most intense intense thing I've ever done in my entire life, and they make you sign a waiver saying you're not gonna sue if you die out there or whatever. And so it was cool, like, kind of getting that briefing at the beginning, getting coached up on what the day's gonna be like, and then busting over, and then getting out and taking that Snowcat in. But yeah, it was very chill riding, very cool experience. I would definitely do it if you're just looking for, you know, a very rare experience that you probably won't do again. Now, let's move on to where I rank this resort on a F to S tier. We'll start regionally with the Midwest. What would I rank this resort from an F to S tier? I would place Voodoo Mountain in B tier. The reason I'd place it in B tier is because if you're already at Mount Bohemia, if you're already over there, doesn't hurt to go and ride. Now, if I was, you know, back in my broke college kid days, I would definitely not recommend paying the money to go out and do a day of cat riding there. It's just, you'd be better off just riding at Mount Bohemia or some other resort. But if you've got, you know, the extra money and you're already out that way, heck yeah, why would you not just go and experience snowcat riding? Just do it once just to say you did it. However, I probably will never do it again, just being completely honest. Maybe if I find myself out at Mount Bohemia in a few years, I'll do it if I'm with a buddy that's never done it before, but I probably would just hang out at Mount Bohemia or at the spa, just being honest. Now, for worldwide, how would I rank Voodoo Mountain? I would place it in the C tier. It would definitely not be a resort by any means that I would venture all the way out to go ride at, which I don't think anyone ever even would do that. I mean, every single person I think that was in that Snowcat with us that we were hanging out with all day, everybody was staying at Mount Bohemia and riding at Mount Bohemia. I don't think I met a single person that was like, yeah, I just came up here for the day from, you know, Chicago to do this. Almost, I think literally every single person was there at Mount Bohemia was just like, yeah, I wanted to try it for the day. So yeah, I would definitely put it in that C tier. I would not travel all the way, you know, take a plane ride to go do Voodoo Mountain. However, if you make the trek to Mount Bohemia, why not ride at the sister mountain and check out Voodoo Mountain? So I hope you enjoyed this review of Voodoo Mountain, and be sure to comment below what resorts I should go hit up next and try out and put onto my stack ranking. And if you like my sweatshirt, you can't see the back, but it's got fun design on the back. Every video I give away a free piece of merch to anyone that subscribes to my channel, so just be sure, if you want to get a free piece of gear, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, screenshot it, slide into my DMs on Instagram letting me know you did it, and every video I pick a new person to get a free piece of gear. But with that said, peace out, y'all. And if you like this video, you'll probably like these videos as well.